Time now to get an inside look at the world of high finance. Our next guest was once an assistant to a billionaire hedge fund manager and has now written a new book, Private Equity, that delves into the world of the 1% and the expectations that come with working in that world. Carrie Sun joins us now. Carrie, welcome to the show, and listen, congrats on the new book. Maybe to start, Carrie, you could just walk us through how you came to work for this hedge fund billionaire, Carrie, and what kind of work were you doing? What exactly was the role?
The role was the right-hand person to this hedge fund billionaire, and I was really in charge of managing his life. I provided him with both administrative support as well as research and operational, and I really just gave him hopefully extra time in his life to be able to do some higher return on time activities.
And it's so interesting to me, Carrie, the way that you put that hopefully you gave him some extra. I mean, clearly you still feel kindly towards this person, it seems. You wanted to do a good job. At the same time, that it sounds like the job kind of ground you into the ground, right? It was exhausting. So how did you come out of that experience and say, okay, this is a book, I want to write about this, and what did you want to communicate through the book?
I wanted to communicate through the book that by we, I mean, I really actually do mean this grand we, where I'm talking about myself, but certainly my boss in the book, are all kind of on this treadmill of burnout and extreme intense work all together, because I do still feel kindly toward him. And I think ultimately, I think he valued me a lot. I did provide him, I think, with a lot of value, and he rewarded me by giving me raises, bonuses, and a lot of gifts. And in addition to that, he said some very kind words of praise toward me, and I think he really believed in my abilities. But at the same time, when I was driven to the ground with my burnout, and I tried to speak up and ask him for help, just in terms of possibly hiring another person to assist me. There was just not enough hours in the day to do the volume work that was required. And I asked him for help, and he just wasn't able to get there for whatever reason. And so in my book, I'm trying to show how, we tell ourselves these stories about who we are and what we believe about work. And I think the story that he might have told himself was that perhaps, like he was a kind, giving boss. And I think he thought that he was pretty chill and easygoing and not that intense or required so much. And that he thought that my job was perhaps not so difficult. And when I told him about my burnout, I'm not sure that he actually really believed me.
And Carrie, I'm also interested, you changed the name of the people and the firm that you work with. Why did you decide to do that, Carrie?
I decided to do that because I really wanted to focus the story on my own story. There are so many wonderful books written from the perspective of bosses, and many of whom are billionaires and owners of these fantastic firms. But I really wanted to read a story set in that world, but from the perspective of an average worker. And I wanted to provide that story. I wanted to write what I wanted to read. And because I think there's room for voices in that world beyond those who call the shots.
Carrie, obviously you were close to extreme wealth working for this individual. What surprised you the most in terms of his lifestyle while you were working for him?
What surprised me the most was just how much work it took to make everything seem completely seamless. I think, on the surface, everything seems frictionless and glamorous, but I think underneath and behind the scenes, there are and there are usually multiple people who try to bring something, to fruition and make it seem perfect and seamless, and just there just are, I'll give you an example. Just take one of his lunches, for example. His personal chef would cook the lunch at his house would hand deliver his lunch to me at the office. I would retrieve it. I would then look at his schedule, wait until it was the right time when he had 5-10 minutes to actually eat the lunch. Then I would go to the kitchen. I would follow the plating instructions, then plate the lunch, serve it to him. Then after he ate it, someone from the kitchen staff at the office would then have to wash the food storage glass containers. Then usually his driver would drive those containers back at the end of the day, and the whole cycle starts again. So in order to just eat his lunch, multiple, like 6 people were involved with trying to make that happen.
Amazing. Carrie Sun, that is an amazing little detail. Really appreciate your time today. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.